A lot of people seem to think that it's smart to criticize an established institution, like the factory. But you want to remember this, son. Anybody can criticize. Anybody can be destructive. But you ought to know what it is you're talking about before you talk.
The man on the soapbox explained everything. Now, he said...
Yes, I know what he said.
But you weren't there, Gramps.
No, but I've been there before. I've heard these terror downers. That factory isn't just a building of bricks and steel. It's more than that. Far more. It's your town.
My town? Well, gee, how do you figure that?
Want your paper, Mr. Robinson?
Oh, thanks, Bobby. Let's sit down here. Now, I'll tell you something about this town of ours, Jerry. It all began a long time ago, when I was young and the town was young. And there wasn't anything to it but one straggling street and a few struggling farms round about. Soil was all right, but there just wasn't anybody around to sell the crops to. But the town did have one thing. There was a man who had a dream. He had an idea, and he knew a man who had some money to invest. That was how it started. At first it was just a little factory. And then, son, things began to happen in this town. I was there, and I know. I turned the first lathe in that factory, and as the factory grew, new folks moved to town and brought their wives and families. The town began to grow. Homes and gardens began to spring up all around. Mr. Smith enlarged the old general store, and a couple of new stores were open. I know, son. I was part of it all. I was part of that factory, and it was the factory payroll that brought all those people and all that business to our town. As a matter of fact, you were part of it all, too, but you didn't know it at the time.
Me? I didn't work at the factory.
The very night you came into this world, you became a part of it. The hospital where you were born was here because the factory was here. You see, son, the factory brought people here, and the people needed doctors and lawyers and dentists who were paid out of the money put into circulation by the factory payroll. And as the factory prospered, the whole town grew and prospered. Wages went higher, and hours of work grew less, which meant that we had more leisure time to enjoy the comforts that we were now able to buy. There are our fine schools. They grew out of a little one-room country schoolhouse. Look at our police department, the best in the state, and the fire department, too. You can't remember the old volunteer bucket brigade, but I was a member of it. It was all we had to depend on. Of course, a lot of folks think that all these things just happened by themselves, or that the town was responsible. And of course it was, in one way. But the factory paid most of the taxes that made them possible.
Yeah, I can see all that, Gramps.
The well-being of all our people depends on some productive enterprise somewhere. Everybody's welfare can be traced back to manufacturing and industry. Storekeepers, clerks, bank presidents, lawyers, stenographers, housewives, mechanics, teachers, schoolboys. In the last analysis, their livelihood depends on the steady circulation of industrial payroll dollars. And that's why I say to you, Jerry, look around you. The story of your town is the story of America. And America, well, America is progress with liberty and democracy and peace. These are the blessings of peace and industry that belong to all of us and to our children and our children's children. And we should guard them and thank God for them, for America, every day we live.